Hey everybody, we're back from the Silver Creek Studios with Get a Load of This. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jared.
And what do we want to talk about this time?
Well, there's been more developments with the whole Florida school shooting incident. I thought we could kind of get into that a little bit.
Yeah, there certainly has been. It's a shit show. There's a whole lot of bullshit going on down there.
We've had our own drama here at the studio.
Yeah.
But there's definitely been a lot of drama.
We tried to involve our female counterparts into our podcasting endeavors and have a nice pizza dinner and a couple of ice cold frosty beverages with them, and it turned into a conversation about the current events that are confronting our country. And it became a bit contentious. Luckily, they're stuck with us, and but it really kind of, I think it opened our eyes a little bit to how the world is looking at this, how the country is looking at this issue,
and just how hard it's going to be to come to any kind of agreement or consensus on what to do about it.
Yeah, it's there's no silver bullet, no pun intended. I mean,
don't say bullet.
Yeah, that's insensitive. I'm sorry, but no, there's everybody thinks they have the solution. Not everybody. A lot of people think they have the solution, and I think that it's some amalgamation of all of these things that will be the final result, and it's still not going to cure our ills 100%. Sure. And that's what people need to recognize. There are people on both sides of the political spectrum who think that, no, this is my opinion and God damn it, I'm right and you better agree with me or else. And that's not going to solve any problems. And, we need to open our minds. We need to think about, what do they call it? Hybrid solutions that take all things into account. So it's definitely difficult, and
so one of the tidbits of information we didn't have before is the whole issue with this security officer or cop, whatever you want to call him, who was assigned to the school, who allegedly didn't take action. Right. That's what's being discussed now, and he's getting raked over the coals, thrown under the bus. He's resigned, all that stuff. Yeah. The president's calling him a coward. So what do you think about that? Should he have taken action? Is he obligated to take action?
Well, look,
is he entitled to be a human who
did
gets
Trump
scared?
Call him a coward?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, I mean, he didn't. He said
so many words.
But he used the word coward, but it was, kind of.
Well, that's bullshit. Is he a coward? Sure. But but I'm just as much of a pussy for saying that too. Put yourself in that position. You know that there is a whole bunch of hellfire going on inside the building. Are you going to go in there? Am I going to go in there? I don't know. We're not in that position.
I would. I don't know about you. No.
Well, it's easy to say.
Right. That's the thing. You never know how you would handle it.
Right. And whenever you're really confronted with, do I go in? I have this 9mm on my hip, and I have a taser, and I'm going to go into this building where I hear a whole lot of rounds getting popped off. Am I going to go in there? I'm not defending this guy. He signed up.
But that's the thing. That's the reason he's there, is to go in this situation.
But that's not in his training.
I bet he's trained for an active shooter.
But you don't know until you're in the midst of it. You don't know until you're confronted with the situation how you're going to respond to it. So, should he resign? Absolutely. He's obviously not cut out for that line of work. Because when push come to shove, he couldn't answer the bell. So now,
does he need to resign in shame? And not necessarily.
No, I think that
it's just become evident that he shouldn't be the one.
Yeah, in that look. I mean, have you ever backed down from a fight? Have you ever been in?
Sure.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've been in situations where punches were thrown, and I said, "Yep, I'm out. There's a lot more of them, and they're bigger than me and all my friends, and I'm done. I'm not.
I think the difference, though, is you might have gotten thrust into that position or into a fight or a situation that you weren't prepared for. This guy, by all accounts, should have been prepared for this. They should have had training. They should have had, a profile on him to know, can he handle this kind of pressure? How's he going to, So I think that's what most people expect from a law enforcement officer. Are they able to handle this situation? And if not, somebody should have identified that before the situation comes around and maybe assigned someone else to the school.
Or made him resign sooner.
But honestly, I don't even know if we have to limit this to police officers. Like, an adult who's nearby, wouldn't they run in to help a bunch of students? I'd like to think so.
Well, I think I would. I think if it was, especially if it was my children.
Sure.
If it obviously.
Definitely. If you're at your own kid's school and something's going on, you're going to go.
I'm going in and I'm opening up whatever, however big a can of whoop ass I can muster. But that's my kids. Now, if I'm a cop sitting outside of school and it's like, oh shit. Now let's go with what's going through that cop's mind.
Yeah.
Let's say he's got, I don't know if he has kids or not, but let's say he's got a baby daughter and he's got a 6-year-old son.
And he wants to get home to those kids.
Yeah. And he's sitting there like, oh shit. I could go in there and be dead in a heartbeat. And, a moment's hesitation is, in that case, maybe it was 3 lives. Maybe it was and then the longer he waits, the more he starts doubting himself. Who knows what's going through that guy's mind? Know. So I
understand the frustration of the public.
Oh, sure. But you cannot demonize that guy for making that decision. I don't think that's fair, because if you want to call someone a coward, it's the person that's sitting on Facebook or Twitter and saying that they have the solution to these problems while they sit behind their fearless keyboard and spout off their opinions. They didn't lose a life. Maybe in most cases they didn't, but maybe they were a victim of this too. But they didn't lose a life. They weren't in that situation, and they don't know how they would respond.
Yeah.
What's done is done. Yes, we need to put all precautions in place to make sure we have capable law enforcement individuals on hand in order to handle these situations. Mm-hmm. More importantly, is that the right solution? Is it sufficient in today's world to say, well, we had a cop stationed outside and he was sitting in his car eating a donut or whatever he was doing, or playing Sudoku? Is that sufficient protection for the children in our schools of America? I say no.
Apparently not.
No. And so what is adequate protection? Is it arming teachers? I don't know. We could get into a hot debate about that. Yeah. We already did tonight. But maybe that's a partial solution. Here's an idea that, and I don't know if it's mine, if I heard it somewhere on another show or something, but we talked about banks. Mm-hmm. So we protect our money better than we protect our children. Mm-hmm. And I was a bank teller in my younger days, and underneath the teller booths where we worked, there was a kick pedal. So if someone came in and would rob the bank, you could easily, discreetly kick this little lever, and it would sound an alarm, and the police would be called, and they would be there within minutes.
Good to know.
Yeah, for all you bank robbers out there, watch their feet. But no, so why not have a button in every corner of every school that at a moment's notice calls the police, or goes to other measures and locks down all doors? That's just one. So that's not going to solve the problem either. That's not the 100% solution either.
No.
What about? I think we may have touched on this in the first episode about push. You have to push a button. The camera turns on and sees who's outside before they even let you in the door.
Buzz you in. Yeah.
Right. Now there's big schools where that's a little bit more, but it's doable. It's doable. We talk about prisons and how secure they are, letting people out.
Right.
Well, and not that we want our kids to go to a prison every day, but we do want them to be safe.
Yeah.
So would any parent be would any parent object to saying, I want a fence around my kid's school that is, for the most part, impenetrable unless you're buzzed in by a security officer, just like a gated community, you know? I mean, people are okay with that. So why not put fences around these schools? You have to push a button. They ask you what your business is. You have to be cleared through. Once you're in, then you go to the building you want to go to. You push the button there, and they say, again, why are you here? I'm here to pick up Billy. He needs to go to the dentist today. And they say, okay, come on through. And they can see you, and they see if you have a knapsack, or they see if you have a bulge in your jacket.
You're right. I think it would be pretty easy to circumvent that, though. I mean, if you were, you could just say, "Oh, I had a doctor's appointment this morning. I'm late for school." Oh,
sure. If it's a student,
right?
A student and they'd be like, "Okay,
go ahead."
Sure, yeah.
Right, and you're going to drive in with your, or you're going to Uber in, which is apparently what this guy did. So, you're right. I mean, that we could take extra security measures, and to me, that I think I made this point when we were discussing off the air. That I think if you're talking about arming teachers, that's the last line of defense. I mean, if you're at that point, you've already failed 3 or 4 times.
Right.
You know, the perimeter fence,
right.
The front gate, so to speak, the door, security guards, either outside or inside. I mean, you know, if somebody gets past all that, then maybe we can start talking about having armed teachers in the classroom. But I think that's pretty unnecessary and opens up a whole other realm of violent possibilities. But
and it opens up a whole other room, area for error.
Yeah, but I agree with you when you said, you know, we protect our money, we protect our celebrities, we protect our politicians way more than we protect our children, which is the most important thing to most of us. So,
it's silly, and it's just common sense. So a common sense solution is to put the same protections around our children that we do around the Pentagon, and go ahead and try to get in the Pentagon with a firearm. Go try to get on an American Airlines flight with a firearm.
Don't try to do that at home.
Disclosure. No, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able, so why can't we put those similar precautions? We don't want the TSA at every high school entrance. Obviously, the TSA is a kind of a joke. It's become something that it was never intended to be. But some semblance of that. So I propose that the federal government or state governments, let's leave it at that, can allocate money to communities, to their schools, to say, here is X dollars that you are required to put towards security for your school. And if you do not spend it, then there'll be penalties. We'll shut you down, or there'll be penalties. So that's pretty simple, right? We made rules. The federal government made rules on how lunch money was used during the Obama years. We can make those rules to say that every kid needs to eat a piece of broccoli. Why can't we make a rule that says every school has to have X level of security?
Yeah.
Whatever that solution is. Not saying that we have the solution here, but some solution, some agreeable solution on all parts. So, I don't know. There is a common sense solution. It's not going to eliminate them 100%.
No.
There will be another event, just like there will be another event on an airline. Someday in our lifetimes, there will be a tragedy that is the result of humans wanting to do harm. So, but all we can do is do our best to limit those opportunities for those ne'er-do-wells. So, but the solutions that are put out there by the both ends of the political spectrum, the left and the right, the left saying all guns need to be confiscated, stop producing them, no cartridges need to be produced anymore, we're just going to take it out of the equation altogether. Well, we all know that's not going to work. Any reasonable person knows that that's not going to be the solution. The other side of the spectrum is, well, everybody should just be armed. We should give a gun to everybody, and then nobody will, everybody will be afraid to do anything. Everybody will be afraid to move. Well, that's not the solution either. So let's find a reasonable middle ground that we used to be able to do this. It seems like, I mean, we're not that old, but in our lifetimes, it seems like we were there was a middle ground that we could all come to, and it's a problem.
Well, we're in the world of Twitter where, instantly attack whatever side is not on your side. At Load This Podcast, by the way. But I do think that's, a big part of it is social media in general allows you to just lash out. And to the point where people almost think it's their obligation to, aggressively take a stance on anything, whether it's just, a movie or a sporting event or a political, situation, whatever.
How dare you disagree with me?
And it's like, I have to get out there and make my case with my anonymous Twitter handle.
I have to tear you down. I have to berate you and call you everything in the book to make my point. Things that you would never say to any human being in person. I've made this argument, kind of, I don't want to get off the topic too much, but about how we talk to our family. And how versus how we talk to people that we work with. Now, I spend more waking hours with the people that I work with than I do the people that or my family, than my wife and my children. And, but I would never yell at a coworker, "Hey, would you shut up? I am talking on the phone over here," But yet I will tell my kids, like, "Hey, shut up," So
I'm very bad about that too.
But why it's okay to do that to our families is because it's unconditional love, and we know that they love us and it's okay, and so there's that what we don't have with our coworkers. But that same kind of contrast applies to things that we'll say. I won't, but some people will say online, and versus what they'll say in person, and it's because you're under this mask. You're hidden behind your powerful keyboard, and you're able to, no one can hurt you. No one can really touch you whenever you're on Twitter. You're anonymous. It's sad. So I don't know. That's a whole nother problem.
It is.
And if we're talking about the internet and how do we make people accountable for their actions on the internet, I think that there should be some changes. And if we're going to create laws, let's create laws about, hey, if you want to say something out there, you damn well better put your name out there, because and that goes back to
would solve a lot just right there if you prevented anonymous posts or accounts.
Well, and this kid that shot up the school in Florida, he thought he was pulling a fast one and saying, "Well, I'm going to be a famous school shooter." He said it. I almost think he wanted to be caught by saying that. He wanted to be stopped. He was drawing attention to himself, and obviously in hindsight we can look and say, why the fuck didn't we catch him? I mean, someone post something like that, and I think that's what everybody's thinking right now. Is like, that's a big miss on the FBI.
There were a lot of failures on a lot of people's.
But he posted that out there, thinking, let's see, I'll float this out there and see what happens. And when nothing happened, he's like, I'm invincible, and I'm going to go and I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. But so you remove that option if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, on Twitter, it's your name, and it's easily tracked back to you. And if you say something nefarious towards a government official, there's repercussions to that. And now there's still freedom of speech protections. You can say, I hate Donald Trump and I think he's an orange asshole with little hands and he's got bad ideas and he's a sexist pig and he's a rapist and he's whatever. You can say all those things all you want. But if you once say, I wish the president were offed by whatever ISIS, well then you're going to get a visit, but that doesn't happen. You can say those things, and that's not right. That's so.
I just want to know what was the look that the Uber driver gave him when he picked him up and he was carrying an AR-15 and who knows what else.
Yeah.
Did he even know?
How do you conceal an AR-15? It's a big-ass gun.
I can't imagine that you did.
Yeah, I mean, do you get in the back of an Uber and say, with your AR-15, towed up with you?
Uh-huh. So, where are we going? I mean...
We shouldn't be laughing. I shouldn't be laughing about it. But
it's
laughable.
It is.
It's like, how now we're going to demonize the Uber driver. It's not his fault. I mean, he's just doing a job. Maybe he didn't even look in the back seat. Right. Where are you going, buddy?
Yeah. I don't know. He's not being charged, apparently. But you got to think he had to have realized something. You're taking this dude with I assume you saw it, an AR-15, dropping him off at a school. Yeah. What'd you think was going to happen? Of course, what is he supposed to do? I don't know.
I like to think he didn't. He didn't see it. He didn't even pay attention to him. And the poor guy, he's got enough guilt. I'm sure he's wrought with guilt.
Yeah.
Because he was a factor in it.
Right.
But if it wasn't him, it would have been some other Uber driver
or Lyft.
Yeah. Poor Lyft always gets forgotten.
Is that the ones with the pink mustaches?
I think they did at one point.
Yeah.
So I only use Uber. I don't use
I've
Lyft.
never used Uber.
Uber's great. Transitioning a little bit. So we just got back from New Orleans and we drove down there. So I had a truck. I could have gotten myself anywhere I wanted to go. But we found out that parking was somewhat pricey. So we decided to Uber, on a couple of occasions. And so we walked to a restaurant one night and we got in the Uber. Super awesome Uber driver. And I was like, hey man, what's there to do? I got my kids with me. I got my wife. We're just looking for a nice night. Want to listen to some music, have a beer. He said, oh, we'll take you down to Frenchman Street. And there's a place there called Dat Dog. And it's great. You'll love it. All around you, there's music, and you can hear it all from the balcony of Dat Dog on Frenchman Street. I said, great. So take us down there. I didn't ask him how far it was. I didn't ask him how much it was going to cost me. We get down there, and it was a $28 Uber ride, which... it was a $13 Uber ride home. So I could have gone home. I could have gone home and gotten my truck and driven down there and parked on the street because it was a Monday night and it wasn't crowded. But whatever. We're down there to have fun and we're on vacation, kind of. So we get down there. We listen to some band play. I had a beer. Kids had a soda. Wife had a soda. And it started raining, so we're not going to be able to cruise up and down Frenchman Street. We decided, well, we're going to get an Uber ride back home. Well, now we hit peak rates, our semi-peak rates, and it was a $34 cab ride home. So getting to Frenchman Street and back cost me $55, whatever it was. It was expensive.
It was worth it, though, right?
Yeah, no, it was all right, But so the contrast between the driver down there, he was awesome. The whole time there, he was having a conversation. I'm the type of passenger that wants to converse with the driver. Hey, are you from here? I don't know. That's the way I am. And the guy that took us home, he wanted none of it. He didn't want to hear what I had to say. He didn't want to answer my questions. He just wanted to collect the fare. So, I gave them both 5 stars, and I hope they gave me 5 stars. And as a passenger, they can rate the passenger too.
Right, yeah.
So I gave them both 5 stars, although I tipped the first driver $3. I tipped, which is probably light, considering it was a 20-something, but still, whatever, who cares? But I didn't tip the second driver a nickel because he was just shut off. He wanted to be a cab driver. All right, buddy,
doing his job.
You want to be a cab driver? Go drive a cab. You're an Uber driver. It's a little bit more personal experience, and there's, I don't know. He did have a clean car, though. I have to give him that. So
I've only been to New Orleans once. It was about 10 years ago, and we were barely in New Orleans. We were going on a cruise for our 10th anniversary. So we took the kids and my mom and her husband. We all drove down, and they were following us down. So we're in the city downtown. We were trying to we needed to fill up with gas, and we're driving around. And of course, we've got a Garmin GPS. Back then, we weren't using our phones.
Right.
And it had, one of us might have had a phone with a GPS. I don't know. Anyway. And we're trying to find this gas station, which shows up on our GPS, but we're driving around and it's not where it's telling us it's going to be. And I'm just getting pissed. I'm having to stop at lights so my mom doesn't get separated. I'm having to go through this, whatever. It was just getting very annoying. And we're in the city, and there's one-way streets and cobblestone roads, and it's just a pain in the ass.
Right.
And I just pull over, and I'm going to get out and tell my mom, all right, we're going to go up here, and I'm going to turn left, because, she doesn't have a GPS. She's following us. So I pull the car over, frustratedly get out, and so this is about 10 years ago, so my kids are like, 5 and 7 or whatever.
Right.
And where I happened to pull the car over, we look over, and there's this shop with a giant glass window display and wall to wall, floor to ceiling
dildos.
No, it's covered with like magazine covers of naked women.
Oh, okay.
It's this sex shop,
basically. A hustler. Yeah. I think I walked past that.
The whole thing. There's just naked women all over the front of this store, and our kids are just looking at the car at this shop, and I literally stopped right in front of it 6 feet away and get out of the car. So I didn't even realize it until I was getting back in the car. So anyway,
well, that's
my New Orleans story.
No, that's funny though. So episode 2 of our of this show, we talked about movies and how it's okay to let your kids see this nudity.
Yep.
So again, I'm okay. We both agreed, I think, that we're okay with our kids seeing this on television and the media or whatever. We don't want them watching hardcore porn on the internet or whatever, but it's all right if you see a boob here and there, right? It's whatever. But so we're down there, and my kids are, they're older. They're teenagers. Well, the youngest one's not, but close enough, right? And I know he's seen things. He's on the internet, right? Hopefully not too much. And so we're walking down Bourbon Street. And there's a spot on Bourbon Street where it gets a little seedier than everywhere else. That's when you hit the gentlemen's clubs and the Hustler Club and all that stuff. And we got there, and I was like, all right, time to turn around. And I back them up. And so I stopped, turn around. Everybody turned around, like, where are we going? And we're going the other way. And I was like, but why?
I know.
What's the problem? It's not like they have them on the street naked.
It's our first instinct is to back away from all that.
From that,
but it really, I'm not sure that it should be.
Excuse me. No. But I saw the same shop. I don't know if it's the same shop, but a very similar shop. There's a Hustler Club down there, and they do have the windows just plastered with old magazine covers.
Right.
And and we walked right by it, and I was like, I wonder if anybody's going to say anything about this. The kids didn't mention it. I don't know if they noticed it. I imagine they did.
I bet they noticed.
Yeah, but not a word was spoken about it, and we just kept on moving. But no, New Orleans is a unique city. The thing anybody that hasn't been there, if you're going to go there, you need, and my wife I think failed to recognize this, is that if you're going to go to New Orleans, there is, other than going to college there are few reasons to go there other than to drink and wander the streets.
And yet you're sending your son down there for
there's a
the next 4 years.
There. He has a purpose. But if you're going there to visit, if you're going there as a tourist, understand that the sole purpose of that city is to drink and wander the streets and visit odd shops. And she wants to take her pictures, do her classy photography of nice, whatever, French architecture. That's great. But for everybody else that doesn't have a camera around their neck, what else are you there for? Now, I had kids, so they're obviously not going to drink, but they can go into the voodoo shops and the Museum of Death and things like that. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great city, but you have to understand why it exists, and it's for debauchery.
Sounds like,
first and foremost.
Sounds like we need to take a road trip when your son is down there and visit him.
No, I'm actually looking forward to him being there, giving me a reason to go down there, and because we were down there on this whirlwind tour, and it was a lot to fit into a short amount of time, and we were trying to see as much as we could, and there's a lot of neat stuff, and especially the cemeteries. And for folks that don't live in a marsh, they bury people differently down there, and they don't bury them. They have mausoleums, or what are they, crypts, I guess, and they bury them above ground, and it is a crazy, eerie environment. We walked through the Lafayette Cemetery, and it was it was creepy and neat. I was neat. It's a cemetery, so it's not really neat, but it is. I dig that kind of stuff. You're seeing how young people were when they died. And the average life was like 40 years old, you know, and we walked across, I'm sorry, a black cat walked across our path. We didn't walk across, maybe we did walk across his path, but so we see a black cat. We're in a cemetery. We were in a voodoo shop that same day. We were really flirting with disaster here. I mean, we were testing the limits of things. And then the next morning in the Airbnb that we had rented, while I was in the shower and nobody else was in the bathroom, the mirror fell off the wall and shattered. Not joking. So, you know, how many bad luck signs do I thank God I'm not superstitious, right?
Yeah, right.
So I had a black cat walk in front of me. I'm in a cemetery in a voodoo shop when my kids are playing with what do they call them? The dolls. What do they call
Voodoo
them?
doll, right?
Voodoo doll. Yeah. Is that what they're called? Yeah. So they're picking things like, oh, there's one with a penis. Yeah, look at this, Dad. And and then a mirror breaks in our Airbnb. It was a weird time, but I put
so we're gonna have to get into your ghost stories. For sure, next time
that's
or
a
sometime
whole,
coming up.
Yeah, we should do. Here's an idea. We should do an episode. We should talk to people that I know that have a haunted place. Maybe we could do a show from there.
Oh, there you go.
I'm okay with doing it as long as I have someone big and strong like yourself that protect me from the ghosts. But yeah, I don't like ghosts. So
well, on that note, let's wrap this episode up. So this has been Get a Load of This with Ryan and Jared. What episode are we on? 3?
This is episode 3, and check us out on Twitter @LoadThisPodcast, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.